Good morning, Nick from Meat Smoke Fire here to welcoming you to this week's car crash. I feel so unprepared this weekend. I know that Helena's going to have to run in and out of the house about 30 times, but anyway, that's just the way it is. It just doesn't feel right this weekend. Anyway, Father's Day tomorrow, so we thought we would... hang on a sec, let me get the thing off. Tomahawks, or côte de boeuf, or ribeye on the bone, or... oh, look at that. That looks epic. Sorry, I've got a bit of green stuff on it. We don't want any salad with that, do we? So, yeah, we're going to do tomahawk 2 ways. So that is way number 1. We're just going to do this direct. And way number 2, we've already started it. So let's just show you what's going on. So in here, we have the first one on a low and slow. So this is at 110 degrees, and I'm just heating this up slowly until it gets to 48 degrees internal. And at that point, we'll take it off and then we'll sear it. So this is a reverse sear. The idea of this is that we can bring it up to temperature really slowly, so the whole thing is the same doneness. And I always say, is that a word? And I've looked it up and it is a word. So we can bring it up to the same doneness, and then we can sear the outside to get that lovely crispy outside, but it should then be lovely and pink all the way through. I'm going to take this off at about 48 degrees, and Helena has, if you pass me that, is monitoring it. We're using the meter block. Don't know if you can see that, but she's monitoring it, and we've got about 11 minutes before it's ready. So we'll take that off, and then we will we're going to get another egg really hot. We could do it on this one, but we'll get another one because we've got some more going, and we'll get more eggs going hot, and we'll sear 2 next to each other. So we'll do that big bad boy, which I'm going to salt. We'll do it now. Put a bit of salt on the top, flip it over, salt the back. I'm not going to put any pepper on it. Do not put pepper on your steaks before you cook them. You'll burn the pepper. Somebody tell Gordon Ramsay that is, because he gets it wrong every time. Always makes me laugh. Anyway, right, give my hands a little wipe, and then we will do the intros. The other things we're going to cook today, we are going to do, already cooking, some baked potatoes. These have been on hut a couple of hours. They're at 200 degrees. We're going to take we're going to scoop the insides out. We're going to make some mash, and we're going to smoke it. I think it was Jeanette Harvey yesterday, maybe, who was asking, no, maybe I got that completely wrong, but was asking for a recipe for a smoked mash. So we thought we'd do it live. Never done it before. Might work, might not. But we're also going to use the skins to make some loaded potato skins, because that would be great. And we've got our salad, or our coleslaw that we do in our cook classes. Right, thank you, Andy. So on camera,
morning,
Andrea, looking after us today. And then over here, look, at the bar, we know it's a bar, it's 11:15. We've got Helena and Mama.
morning.
Helena is on the iPad watching us, but typing to you lot. So yeah, all good. And then we've got herbs on the edge of our lovely Blaze units, and we've got them over here. Flowers are looking a bit ropey, I have to say, but my chives have fallen over. But anyway, right, back to it.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to grab a Thermopen. I'm going to see how soft our potatoes are inside. Hopefully they're nice and soft. Oh, they are.
Oh,
Yeah.
they look perfect.
Yeah, so we'll get those off, and we'll start with our mash course, if you have a course of mash. So sorry while this takes a couple of trips. How long left on that timer does it say?
9 minutes.
Perfect. It's going to take a little bit longer than that because it thinks it's going to then rest it to get it to 48. So I want you to tell me when it gets to 48, not when it's telling me to rest it. At the moment it's saying internal at the top somewhere.
Oh, 42.
There you go.
Thank you.
Never used one of these before. Right, we've got some lovely baked potatoes. Now if you were going to do them on your egg, we've got that set up indirect. You could drizzle them with a bit of olive oil and put some salt over the top of them, and that will really crisp them up if you were going to have them as baked potatoes.
What are you looking for?
No, I've got one somewhere. Maybe I haven't.
What's
Can I
that?
get a spoon, please, Helena?
Trip number 1.
Yeah, it's going to be like that today. We have my brother visiting this evening. So I got up and decided it was a good idea to clean the bathroom, not get ready for this, as you do, or one of the bathrooms. Right. Ooh. Thank you very much. Look at that, all works perfectly. So I've got a potato ricer, so it's just a thin disc, goes in one of these. Now these are going to be pretty, I probably need a glove, pretty soft anyway. Get this steak out of the way, get my bowl that I'm going to put my mash in to mix it. Nearly put it straight in the bowl. I want to leave a little bit of potato in there for our skins, because we're going to reuse them. So this isn't going to be great TV, but it will work. Oh, lovely. You know they're going to be good. All right, bear with me. So who have we got on, Helena? If you stand here, Andy, you'll be able to hear Helena and see me. Or
we have got Dan Williams, we've got Gaza, we've got
these
Mark.
are new people.
Mark's just joined. We've got
Mark Thomason.
Mark is on. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that who the Mark you just joined
No.
was? No. Okay.
Mark Farah Photography.
Cool.
Alex Lane, Lucy.
Morning, Lucy.
Mark from Dushy's Shop.
Morning, Mark. Who have you been feeding this week? Now you've got the President of the United States out the way.
And they've not got a cloud in the sky down in Cornwall.
We'll be down in a couple of weeks.
Peter from Let's Q.
Morning, Peter. Oh, Let's Q stuff shipped yesterday.
Yay.
So we will have more Let's Qs. Apologies that I ran out with Father's Day coming up, but that's just the way it goes sometimes.
Oh, Jim Purvis.
Morning, Jim.
How long has the meat been on for?
The meat has been on for 30 minutes before we started, so it's going to take about 45 minutes to an hour to get to this. Jim's talking about the tomahawks. So he asked me last night how to cook tomahawk, and I said tune in tomorrow. So Jim's down in Barnes, a good friend of my brother's.
Ali's on. Big Popper Sav is on.
Big Popper Sav.
Sav.
I thought you said Stab.
Tim
Wow.
McGlashan.
Morning, Tim.
Stefan. Black's Barbecue Yard.
Wow.
Mickey. Harold.
Morning, Harold.
Sarah. Ollie Smith. Jason. Franco.
Morning, Jason.
Sam. Karen. Will Prentice. Big Green Egg in Wales.
Morning, Big Green Egg Wales.
Uh,
Have you run out of rubs yet? Just joking.
Ben. Oh, Darren Churchill. Nigel Walker.
Wow.
Matt, Andrew Nail, Ed Stoneham, Andrew Green,
Morning,
Jane
Ed.
Bleakley, Wendy Overnell.
Morning, Wendy. Wow. Right.
Carlos has just joined.
Morning, Lito. Carlos beat me at golf again this week. Didn't do particularly well, but there you go. So
we've got 53 on at the moment.
wow, that's a good number. So I've just got some salty butter, chopping it up a little bit. We're going to spread it through the mash. Now, there's a guy called Adam Vatey who runs a restaurant in just outside St Austell, I think it is. Mark knows him as well. I saw Mark had posted a thing, but Adam cooked me some mash when I was out in St Anton, and it was just unbelievable mash. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but I was like, what have you done to this? And basically, he fessed up. Unbelievable mash. Sorry, I'm going to put these on. Comes from potato with unbelievable amounts of butter in it. Almost 50-50. So I'm just going to put a little bit, while we've got these hot, a little bit of oil into our skins. Oop, squirting it everywhere. I'm going to chuck them back on this barbie, on this egg over here, just to crisp up a little bit more. It's up at 250 at the moment, so these are, watch these, they'll burn quickly. So I'm just going to let those crisp off a little bit while we get this mash, and then we're going to smoke it. So let's get the rest of this off the board. So yeah, Adam, while I was in St Anton, made this mash, and it was just to die for. And essentially it was just lots of butter. But if you're down in Cornwall, look up Schooners. They're open, I think, Wednesday to through the weekend. They have 2 days off. I think they have Monday, Tuesday off. I've never been yet, but Adam, I've met a couple of times out in St Anton. First year he was in my class, and the second year he helped me with the class. So, yeah, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Sorry, I should grate it or grind it, but now, if you were into your cheesy mash and you wanted it smoked, then why not put smoked cheese in it? Now, I'm not going to do cheesy mash, I'm just going to do normal mash. What are they laughing at over there?
He's with his parents. He's got a weekend off, but that's the best day awake.
Oh yeah, I did see Franco's parents
Okay, so
were asleep last night, yesterday afternoon.
Nick, we've got someone watching in Canada.
Morning,
So are you,
very early morning.
Are you talking about when you say 250? Are you talking about centigrade?
So I am talking centigrade. We don't do Fahrenheit here. We're British, we're metric. I don't get all of these, ooh, hello, all these people who do.
I don't know where that I see.
Yeah, sit down there on the tray, we're all right. But I've shot off that piece. So I'm just putting it into a baking tray just to spread it a bit, because I want to get some smoke on it in a minute.
Good.
Oh, that's almost as good as Adam's. That is good mash. Right. So let's put that over here. How are our little wedges doing? Get in there and have a look. Those are just bubbling away nicely. They'll be crisping up. But I'm going to take those out in a second. Let's do it. So, in fact,
Where are we going?
you know me, we'll go in here.
Okay.
Never knowing what I'm doing. That's the beauty of this. Right, they're good. So let's smoke the mash now. What I'm going to do is grab another glove, which I've shot off with. I'm going to pop this out for a second. It's down here, Andy, so do not step on it.
Yep.
So potatoes have been in 2 hours at 180. They're big old potatoes. And I'm just going to use some smoking chips. Now I've got just the first one that I picked up, a little bit of apple. And I'm not going to use too much, a handful. I'm not soaking them, I never do. They can just go in there. They're going to burn pretty quick, so we need to get the thing back on.
Well, that's warm by your old feet, isn't it?
Yeah. That can go in. Mash on the top, shut the lid, and turn it down a bit. And hopefully what we should see in a second is we should start getting some smoke. There you go.
Boom. Just like that.
So now that's going to be hitting the top of the mash. Now I don't want it to be overly smoked because it will be quite acrid. So I just want a short smoke. So we're probably going to do 5 minutes, something like that. Okay. So while we do that, we've got these loaded. We're going to load them up. So what I do need to do, and I can do it on that egg over there, some lardons. Can't beat a bit of bacon, it says. So I know it should be my own bacon. And I have got a whole chunk that I need to get out and smoke. Helena's looking at me. She said, what are you doing with that bacon that you cured about a month and a half ago? Well, it's still curing. That's the answer. Tiny bit of oil in there, just to get it going. And I'm going to put this in this egg over here, which is set up, ready to do. I'm just going to turn it up a bit. Set up, ready to do our steaks. We're going to do the first part of the reverse sear over there, and then I'm going to do the second part over here. Now, if you were doing this at home, you'd use your egg, and the reason you reverse sear is because you bring one egg up, you bring the egg up to 110, you bring the steak up slowly, and then you sear the outside, but you turn the egg up and get it hot at that point, and it will be, you know, you can't bring the egg's temperature down the other way, so you can't sear it first and then oven bake it because you can't get the egg down. So, but I have another egg, so right. So what else are we going to put in here with our wedges? A little bit of spring onions, our loaded skins. I'll put some more on top. We'll get a bit of that in there. Little bit of cheese, not too much. So we'll bake these off once our mash is smoked. Our smoke's going away. It's good. Don't overload it with cheese because they'll never go crispy. Go in there some jalapenos. Now you don't have to do this if you're not into your spicy stuff, but we'll leave one or two without. Good morning, Meat Ben.
Okay, so John Pritchard's asked a question.
Yep.
When reverse searing, do you just let the egg come to 110 when you glit it, or go past and cool with the convective section?
So the way I teach people how to do it, and the way I was taught by Big Green Egg how to do it, is when you light your egg, always bring it, sorry I'm not looking at you, always bring it up to 180 degrees. So light your egg, open the lid, let it burn for 10 minutes, close your lid, open the top and the bottom fully, let it burn for 5 minutes, it will come up to 180. And at that point you started warming the ceramics. If you don't warm up those ceramics and you try and hit 110 and you put a cold convector in there, there won't be enough heat in your egg to keep the fire burning and it will go out. So I always bring it up to 180, then I put the convector in, and then I start to reduce the vents so it comes back down to 110. And it's dead easy, we do it in every class. So I do it that way. And it works an absolute treat. And I know that because Andrea on the camera has her own egg now and cooked on it for the first time this week.
Yep.
And how did it go, Andy?
It was successful. I didn't smoke out my neighbourhood, and the selfie that I did finally manage to take and send you, Nick, you clocked that it was bang on 180. So
It was. Oh, hello.
Okay, so...
Hang on, I need to turn that off. There you go.
That's my meter.
Yeah, no, but it rang on the phone as well.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So your internal is at 48.
Internal's 48, perfect. Right.
Can we have a recap? Because we've got some...
Yeah, well, let's get this off before it's... Right. So, in this egg, we are doing... Oh, smell it. In fact, I'll just get a thermopen, just so you can see, because I've done this with the meter. 52, I went a bit far through. 48 in the middle.
damn, Daniel.
Pretty much to 0.2 of a degrees. We'll go for that. So the meter does work. Those of you who've got the meter, always cook via the egg thermometer, because this thermometer on the end of the meter is near cold meat. And what you'll find, and I can get this egg nice and hot now because I don't need it for anything else. What you'll find is that the cold meat and the cold air around it will make this appear low. And as the meat warms up, it will get hotter and hotter and hotter. If you cook via the temperature on that, you'll be forever chasing the temperature around. Just use the temperature on your egg. Works perfectly. Right, so I'm going to wrap it and let it have a little rest. What I'm going to do is get this one cranked up nice and hot. Just going to take I've got the Egg Genius working on it. I'm just going to take that off for now. Just unplug it. So I'm just going to set it to a normal hot cook, and we'll do the potato skins in here when that bacon's ready. So perfect. Let's open that up. That should bring it up to about 200 degrees. Right. So let's have a look at our bits of bacon. Come on. As usual, I've got it right the way up the top and it's taking forever, so I might do what I normally do and just pop it down. Let's pop that over there. So all I'm doing is putting my layer a bit lower. We'll get the pan nearer the heat, and that bacon should start going. You can see the flames next to it, so it'll get it going. And then we can do those wedges, and then we'll get onto the steaks. Perfect. Right. So, steaks resting, steaks good to go.
Can you just give a recap?
Right, recap. So, today we are cooking tomahawks, or côte de boeuf, this one is closer to. Basically a ribeye on a bone. You can have the bone out here. The longer the bone, the more you're paying for bone. So, shorter bone's good. But this is one from Waitrose. Just salted it. The other one we've cooked to 48 degrees. This one I'm just going to cook straight away. Now, both of them I brought to room temperature. So they sat out the fridge for about an hour and a half this morning, allowing to bring to room temperature. I do that with steak. I don't do that with things like pulled pork or pork shoulders, where you want them to get smoky. And they take on smoke when they're cold and wet. So the cooler it is when you put it on, the more smokiness it's going to take on. Does that make sense? Whereas this, we just want to sear it. We don't want the middle to be really cold, because when we cook it, you know, this is a fat bit of steak. When we cook it, we want the middle to warm up. So if we're starting the middle at close to freezing, we're going to burn the outside before we've got the middle warmed up. Right. So we're doing tomahawks. We're doing loaded wedges. Now we took these baked potatoes, scooped them out. We've just put some cheese, some spring onions, some jalapenos. We're going to put the bacon in, and then we're going to put them back in to bake. We've taken the mash out, and we're doing a smoky mash. So over here, you can see it's got a little bit of smoke on the top. I might put a few more chips in. I'll see if I can feed them in onto the plate. There we go. Get a little bit more. They're going nicely down the side. So we're doing the smoky mash. That's the mash taken out, mixed with half a pack of butter. So that was 4 baked potatoes with half a pack of butter. Nowhere near Adam Vasey ratios. That would have been closer to 3 packs of butter with 4 potatoes, I think. But anyway, so we're doing smoky mash, these loaded wedges to start. We're doing those tomahawk steaks, and then the final thing we're going to do while everything's warming up is the coleslaw. So that'll just give my bacon, I'm just going to give them a stir, and then we'll do that. Now we do this slaw in every one of our classes, our beginners, not beginners classes, class 1. We don't do beginners class, we do class 1 and class 2. So we've done this, and everybody says, oh my God, that's gorgeous. So we've got about 1/3 of a sliced up red cabbage. We've got 2 carrots, we've got a whole red pepper. So just sliced thinly. You don't need to see me chopping. To it, I'm going to add, that's a jalapeno. So that's I've got one in here already chopped. So we've got a jalapeno. We've got some coriander that I've just chopped roughly. We've got the juice of a lemon to give it that dressing. Just going to pop that down there, put the other one in. Juice of a lemon. We have a good dollop of Dijon mustard, so my good tablespoon or more. Salt and pepper. Don't put too much salt in. you can kill it. Bit of pepper, and then to make the dressing as well, bit of olive oil. So a couple of tablespoons, 3 or 4 tablespoons of olive oil. And that is, then just mix it together. And that is the slaw that we cook and we have at these classes, and everybody comments, what's in the slaw? So that is what's in it. So jalapenos, peppers, red cabbage, red pepper, coriander leaf, salt, pepper, mustard, a bit of olive oil and lemon juice. So there we've got some lovely slaw to go with our steak when we've cooked it. Simple as. So let's get our lardons off. Oh, looking good. Right. They look fine to me, so they can go in our... We could cook them a little bit more if we wanted, but they can come off and go in our skins. I'm going to turn that up a bit. So I want this now to be up at around 250 degrees for our steaks. So I'll pop that down.
So I've said to do the reverse sear and an alternative. I've only said alternative because I don't actually know what we'll do.
So the alternative. So I don't know if you can hear Helen over. She's doing a reverse sear and an alternative. The alternative is just to cook it normally, direct.
Okay.
So we're going to do one reverse and one direct. We're going to do one on a cast iron grid and we're going to do one on a plancha. Now those of you who know me know my favourite way is a reverse sear on a plancha. So it'll come as no surprise that the one that is sitting there resting is the one that's going to have the reverse sear.
Okay, so Chris has asked.
Pop that over there. Chris who? Yeah.
Chris Wyman.
Right, morning Chris.
He's doing fish and chips deep fried in the wok later.
Oh.
Would you do fish or chips first? Wish I had 2 eggs.
Yeah, we can sort you out with another egg.
I reckon.
I'd probably do the fish first because I don't like soggy chips and fish, but yeah, chips are going to take longer, aren't they? So maybe not. Maybe the fish is only going to take 3 or 4 minutes. The chips will be fine. Do the chips first. Let me think that through. Yeah, chips first because they're going to take 5-10 minutes. Then do the then do the fish because it will take 3 or 4 minutes max. Chips you can double cook as well.
Oh,
so,
I was going to say,
so do
yeah.
them at 180, then do them at 200 or 220. Don't overfill your wok, third at the most. Lid down. If you're on their meat ben, don't shoot me. People do like to deep fry. So meat ben is big green egg in the UK. So big.
Yeah, so Mark from Smoky Mash also says start with chips.
There you go.
And then do a quick fry, second fry of the chips. Oh, and we've got Paul Parsonson.
Oh, I'm from Australia.
Yeah.
Morning, Paul. So Paul's been on morning, evening, even over there. Paul's been on from one of our classes. So. And then emigrated to, I think he lives in Melbourne.
Yes, he does, because I just said,
Yeah.
actually, is that Melbourne, Cambridge or Melbourne, Australia?
And he said Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
Do you know Paul?
Do I?
He's been on our class. He's worked with Chubby, my brother.
Ah, okay.
Do you remember?
Sorry. Yeah.
Right, so this egg, we're just going to bake these now. So we're going to pop these in, try and keep them over the plate setter. So this egg is set up for indirect cooking. So you can see that in there. It was up at just about 180, 200, so perfect. Right, let's get on the steaks. So, this one is obviously going to take longer than that one because it's thicker. No, it's not. It's the same thickness, but it's not cooked at all. So, this one will come down a tiny bit. So, I've let it get a little bit hot, and I will move that grid back up if I can get hold of it. Just so you can see it better. In fact, what I'll do is this. Wow, so we've got Australia and Canada today. Is Sweden on?
I haven't seen Johan this morning.
No, Johan's not on today. Ah. So, normal way of cooking a steak is to put it on the cast iron searing grid. So that's what we'll do. So I'm going to go on that corner to start. Now, this is going to start dripping fat, so we do need to be careful. I'm going to turn it down a little bit more as well. Only because once that fat ignites, it's going to, you know, get hot, really hot in there. And this is a pretty serious steak to cook this way. I think it's going to take about 7 or 8 minutes per side. Excuse me, my noses. So, I've not got a thermometer in it. I don't like cooking with the meter direct, but I will use a thermopen to test it every so often. And what we're aiming for on both of these steaks is that they're going to be a medium rare, so about 57 degrees centigrade. If you wanted them rare, that would be 52, 53. If you want them medium rare, 57, 58. This is controversial. This is a ribeye. So if you took it to 62, 63 degrees, then that you'll start melting that big rib, that eye of fat. I still like it a little bit less done. I'd rather have a chewy bit of fat and a less done bit of steak than an overdone bit of steak. What we're going to have to do with this is guess when the outer layers of the steak are going to be hot enough that the inner bit will continue to cook as the temperature equalizes when we take it off. So what I mean is the outer bits of the steak are probably going to be like 120, 130, 140 degrees C. The inside is going to be at, say, 50 degrees C. But when we sit it to rest, that outer bit the temperature will go in and it will bring up the middle, and we want to get that to about 57. We don't want to take our steak off when the middle's 57, because if we rest it, it will, sorry Andy, there's a wasp.
Yep. That's right.
It will, if you take it off at 57, the outer bits are going to still be 150, say, and it will continue to cook it, and you'll overcook your steak. So take it off before it's at the temperature you want it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So with that steak over there, the one that we've already cooked to 48, we're then going to sear the outside, and that sear will bring it up the last bits. So, yeah, we have a question. So we'll go over.
So Will recently bought a wok.
Yep.
Didn't know he had to season it, and where he's left it sitting in the package, it's rusted at the bottom. Would you say it's ruined?
No, your wok isn't ruined. Will have a look. I'll just get. This isn't a wok, I know, but that is perfectly serviceable. It's rusty. Just get a piece of tin foil. There's always one on one of my eggs. Bit of tin foil. So I use the stuff from Costco. I don't use any scrubbing brushes or anything like that, but a bit of foil goes through you. It's one of those like fingers on a blackboard, but scrub it like that and then add some oil to it and just bake it on, and your jobs are good. Doesn't matter how rusty it is. You know, I've got a couple of, have a look at those two, Andy.
No. You know. I was like, do you really want me to show this?
Yeah, some really badly rusted ones there, but it's just surface. They're fine. Those are the XL ones. You know how often I use my XL? Hardly ever, so we just do. Now I've got rusty fingers, so. Right, we need to get that mash off.
Okay.
That'll be fine. It's just put some foil over it so it doesn't dry out. I didn't put my apron on, so my thing's still stuck on.
Can I also ask another question?
Yeah, second question.
Do you know when the expanders are being shipped?
The expanders are back in stock. So if you've ordered one through me, Big Green Egg will be sending it shortly. That is for the large. I assume you're talking about the large. I'm not sure if the extra large expander went out of stock. But hopefully that answers your question. So yeah, came back into stock this week. So can you see the colour on the top? That's the smoke, a bit of smoke, so delish. So I'm just gonna mix it back up, mix it together. Oh, that's gonna be lush. Chef's perks. I'll leave that there and let it cool a bit.
Yep.
You didn't actually
Huh?
you didn't say anything when you tasted it.
It's good. So I'm just going to put a bit of foil over to stop it drying out, but effectively I'll pop it back in that egg, keep it hot. Turn it down a bit because we don't need to be at 180. Right, let's have a look at that steak. Smells good. So make sure you burp your egg when you're cooking steak with fat on it. Bit of a crust on there. I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, get it on. Might turn this back up again. I've turned it down a little bit too much, but it's starting to crisp up, it's starting to cook. Now this one will be a bit like your normal Sunday roast where you chuck it in at 180 degrees. It's going to be more done on the outside, and then as you go through it, it will be rare in the middle, but it won't be edge to edge the same doneness, unlike the other one. Does it tell you what temperature the other one's at?
This is 51 internal.
So it's carried on going up a bit, but not a lot. It's at 51, and we want to do those last bits, so we're going to sear it, get it nice and hot. So I'm going to get this egg a little bit hotter now. Yeah, so we have some lovely salad. Right, I wanted to show you this. This is a wet, because I've washed it this morning, ignore that. This is a cold smoke generator. So what you do with these is you fill it with sawdust, and you put a tea light in there, and it starts the sawdust smouldering. And you can put that inside your egg, and it will smoulder, and it will take 10 hours for the sawdust to smoulder around that loop. Now the purpose of this is that you can put it in the bottom of your egg or on top of the charcoal. It won't ignite the charcoal, but it will give off smoke. And so the other way we could have made that smoke mash was to use this to smoke the butter, and the butter wouldn't melt because it's not generating any heat. So if you do it overnight, put the butter on a plate, set this going, and it will smoke the outside of the butter, and then you could use that butter to put it straight into the mash to get the smokiness in there rather than use smoking chips. So another way of doing it. Now this is what I use to smoke bacon, to smoke salmon, and so on. So it's a Pro Q cold smoke generator. It's a brilliant bit of kit. We use it all the time, hence it's so grubby. But yeah, we'll go with that. What's going on, Andy? You're pulling faces.
I've just seen a really nice comment.
Oh. Well, tell me.
Shall I share it? Paul Parson.
Parkinson.
Parsonson.
Yeah.
I do apologise.
Yeah.
Just love it. I love the big green egg. I now cook, and it's all thanks to Nick.
He had a big green egg already.
Okay, so a couple of other questions.
Yeah.
How open do you have the vents when you're cold smoking?
So if I were cold smoking, I would have the top open. What have we got in here? I've forgotten. Oh, just the wedges. So something like that. It's just to let air flow through. If you go on some of the forums, you get all these people who go, oh, if you do it like that, you'll have stale smoke. I have no idea what stale smoke is. It's utter rubbish. There's all these people who talk. Top open like that. Top open like a little bit. You don't want it to all rush out. You want to be smoking stuff. And down at the bottom, you need about 1 inch wide on the bottom vent just to let the air in. And what you'll see is the smoke coming out. It's going past your food. It's making your food smoky. Ideally, if you're doing bacon or salmon, you'd have left it in the fridge overnight uncovered so that the outside of it goes sticky. It's called forms a pellicule. It goes sticky and the smoke will stick to it.
So kind of related question.
Yeah.
Someone says, can you cold smoke in the hotter weather?
You can cold smoke up to 30 degrees. So there you go. Yes.
I
Oh.
thought you weren't going to say that.
No, there you go. Mark Dennis is on, hopefully still. Mark runs a charcuterie company. What would you say, Mark? I think you can smoke up to about 30 degrees. So a lot of people won't smoke all year round because they think the food is going to go off, but you've cured it and you're smoking it, which is also trying to get rid of the bacteria. So if Mark's on, say something, but tell me I'm wrong, but I think you can cure and smoke up to about 30 degrees. But do it overnight when it's cooler. Steak. Might drop that thing down again at this rate. Come on, egg. Oh. So this one's starting to look good. We'll get it back over on the other bit.
Probably can't see to the smoke, sorry people.
Dive in, have a look at that. The fat is starting to go nice. You've got those crisscross marks on there. Now what's happening as you're cooking that steak, the crisscross marks are where the steak, the proteins in the steak are, and the caramels, the sugars in the steak are caramelizing. It's called the Maillard reaction, and that's where all the taste is. So if you're doing a steak and you're crisscrossing it, you're getting really nice tasty bits where the crisscross is. However, you've seen there's a plancha next to it. What I've just told you, the really nice tasty bit, if you can get that on the whole surface of it, you get a better product. So crisscross looks pretty. Personally, I prefer my steaks cooked on the plancha. Low cloud coming in here, Andy.
Yeah.
I prefer them cooked on the plancha because you get that crustiness over the whole piece. So what I'm going to do, grab our other steak and then we'll start that. So that one's probably been on 7-8 minutes, something like that. Right. So I've just taken the probe out. We were at 50 something. This steak, you can see, right, pop quiz for those of you who haven't been on my class. What is the red stuff? Those who have been on the class don't answer.
Oh, I've forgotten the word.
Helen will tell you in a minute. What is the red stuff that comes up?
I know, remember now.
Oh.
Myoglobin, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not blood.
It's not blood. If, when you hang a steak or you slaughter an animal, you drain the blood out of it. If it was blood, it would have congealed and gone black, like a black pudding, which is essentially blood. The stuff that's coming out of your steak is just a molecule called myoglobin and water. The red stuff, the red is the myoglobin. It changes colour with temperature. So the more you heat it, the browner it turns. Anyone had a well done steak? What colour is it inside? Brown. What have you done by cooking it to well done? You've basically just driven off the water. You've made it chewy. There's no blood in there. There's no blood in a steak. Right. So this one's going to take less time, but it's going straight on that plancha. We're going to eat well this lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
So, all sticky again, so excuse me. So yeah, so if you've got anyone in your family who's fussy about their steak, tell them about look it up, but tell them about their steaks. Tell them it's just myoglobin, which is a molecule that changes colour with temperature, and water. So a well done steak is a dry steak with brown myoglobin. A rare steak is a moist steak with pink myoglobin. There's no blood in it at all. And it doesn't taste any different. It's just purely texture. By cooking it well done, you've just ruined it, in my opinion. All of this lot, when I first met them, all had their steaks well done.
No, not me.
Okay. But yeah, you don't get your steak well done in our house. Right. How are these bad boys doing? Oh, looking good.
I like them a lot.
Yeah, a bit of sour cream, bit of barbecue. You could put some barbecue rub over it as well. Right, let's go and have a look at our steak. So burp it. Let's have a look at this bad boy. So what I do, I'm going to turn it over and move it to a different part of the grill. Now can you see that has got a much better sear than
Finish
that,
on it, yeah.
in my opinion.
They might not hear us.
Yeah. I'm just going to shut that while I get my thermopen. How are we doing? Nearly there. So again, burp it. Now if you're doing something really fatty, if you wait, what will happen is the smoke will clear and that's when the flames have ignited. So this one, still down in the low 30s, it's going to take a little bit longer. This one, 49. Yeah. I'm a bit behind on this one. I'm going to flip it again.
Can we go back to the cold smoking point?
Sorry?
Can we go back to the cold smoking?
Yes, cold smoking.
Marcus just said, from Smoke Food,
Yes.
if you would be happy to leave out of the fridge at the temp near your egg for the time needed to smoke, then fine. If it's 15 degrees C, I'd be happy with cheese for 10 hours, but not salmon. He says that's just my rule of thumb.
Yeah. So Mark's rule, just if he's happy to leave it out, that's fine. Cured salmon is cured. You've taken the moisture out of there. Basically, the curing process is to reduce the level of moisture within whatever it is you're curing. Sorry, good job it's coming this way today. Low fog, no sunshine here. But yeah, if you're curing something, you're reducing the moisture content in there so that the bacteria can't live. That's essentially what you're doing. So if you reduce the water content in a piece of meat by about 30%, you're normally pretty safe. But yeah, you've got to put, just make your own rules. But yeah, I mean, 30 degrees is what I have read. And Mark from Dutchy Charcuterie. Now that is what I call a steak. Now, I don't want to overdo it. So can you see the inside 52, the outside 60 odd, outside of this one 80 odd. But as soon as you get into this one, it's a lower temp. I'm going to pull that shut. It's even better than that. We've got a Tom Kerridge box for dinner. Anyway.
Oh, get you.
So yes, thank you Big Green Egg for delivering that. We have our Tom Kerridge barbecue box that they've been selling recently. So we've got more steak, we've got some prawns, we've got some lamb, we've got a whole load of other stuff that is just going to be delicious.
Oh, that's great timing with Chris Roach.
Yeah. So
Tom
my brother is gonna get to feed that, and we've got a signed copy of his book.
Yay!
So I've got quite a few signed copied books now. A couple of Jamies, Raymond Blanc, thanks to Big Green Egg as well. I was lucky enough to eat there once for our Christmas party. Oh, I'm going to take that off in a minute. This one's getting there. About 10 degrees behind. Yeah, that one's coming off to rest. So I'll put it back in the same piece of foil, that's fine. The outside of that is so hot. Let's have a look at the back side of it. And hopefully...
Ooh, jeez.
Get your eyebrows, Andy. This will still be nice and rare on the inside. So I've just wrapped it up. I'm going to pop it on a plate. This bad boy. I'm going to keep turning it. That's getting a crust on the outside. It's also catching the fat a little bit. But it'll also be drying the outside of this out. So this has got another 2 or 3 minutes. Maybe 4. So while that's doing that, we'll let this one rest. Are there any other questions while we're waiting for that to finish?
No, Mark did also make a good suggestion about doing the cold smoke overnight. Which
Yeah,
is weird.
yeah, that's what I just said, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry, eating all the good bits.
Rude.
All right, let's get these wedges off.
Okay.
Not wedges, skins. We're gonna have a starter.
Oh, I got your gloves, but
We're all right. I'll get 4 of them off for now. I'll chop them up a little bit. Bit of sour cream would be good with them. Not them with a knife. Hide him. In fact, I'm just going to chop them in half.
Okay, so Jim Purvis,
Yep.
what temp do you take the meat off and how long do you rest for it to get to 57 degrees?
So I've taken this off about 54. I'm thinking the outside of that steak was pretty gnarly. It should be enough to bring it up to 57.
Did you say 54?
54. It just comes with practice. So, you just look at it. A lot of people will feel a steak. They'll get in there and they'll touch it and feel the texture. This end bit's going to be more done. I can feel that's more done than this bit. This bit is just going to be delicious. That is going to be more done. If you think you've overcooked it, or you've taken it a bit too far, leave it open. It will let the heat from the outside go away. Definitely do not stack your steaks. If you stack them, they're going to cook each other.
Yep.
So just keep them separate. I always put my steaks separately. So let's get the board ready. We'll get some of these wedges on.
Oh, nice.
Jim says, how long to rest?
Good rule of thumb, 15 minutes. But we're not going to get that today. So I'm going to. This one won't be rested. There is a guy called Meathead Goldwyn who does a really good website. AmazingRibs.com. That is nowhere near in the middle. It's going to take a little bit longer. So I'm going to turn it down because I don't want to burn the outside too much while I'm cooking the inside. So Meathead Goldwyn would argue you don't need to rest it. As soon as you cut it, the juices will come out. But as you're eating your steak, you can then dip the steak in the juices and it will soak it back up. So, controversial.
Mash.
Mash.
Okay, a couple
Yeah.
of questions.
Yes.
What's a plancher?
Plancher is just a
Where have you
Have
got
you
one?
Flat.
one there?
there's one in here, yeah.
Can you just
Yeah.
explain?
I'll just open this, probably the easiest. The plancher is, hang on, this is going to go. Can you see that? Did
Yeah.
you see the smoke
Yeah.
clear?
Yeah.
The plancher is just the solid cast iron surface.
This flat surface.
This flat
here.
surface here.
Yeah.
Whereas this side, can you see there's one that's solid and one isn't? I'm just going to keep turning this. Right,
Okay, so
mash.
Rob missed the start of the cook today. What temperature can you slow cook for the reverse six? 170?
Yeah, so Helena said, sorry, we're over here. So for those of you who missed the start of the cook, yes, we reverse sear the first part at 110 degrees. So yeah, I brought it up to 48 degrees. Sorry, I'll keep eating everything. It's only because I need to chop on here. That's my excuse. Yeah, so I brought it up to 48 degrees, and then we've then seared it at 250 degrees, roughly that egg is. We've seared it at that temperature, which will bring the steak itself up to about 57. So I'm going to test it in a sec.
I think we have got the can you reverse it on the website, is it not?
Still rising, but 56.2, so I'm 0.8 of a degree off. I'm happy enough for that. 60 at the ends, 58. That's pretty much where I want it. In the interest of serving while you lot are on, I'm going to cut this one up. Right, don't lose the juices. What have I done with my knife this time? There it is, right in front of me. Oh dear, it's like that when I'm in the kitchen, I can't see anything. Right, so let's take it off the bone. Now I'm going to take this end bit off. Now the
Cut against the.
cut against the grain. In this, the grain is coming up through it. So a steak is always cut so that the grain comes up through. So I'm just going to do slices like this. You're going to get a fatty bit on the end, and then we'll get into the meat. Can you see it? That's beautiful. Look at that. So I'm going to cut it nice and thin. A good chimichurri on this would be delicious, but we're going to keep it. So chimichurri is a herby and chili. Yeah, you got to taste it. You're right, Mama.
Oh, smells amazing.
Oh,
Ah,
it's hot. So let's get some of this. I'm going to just pop it on this plate for now, and then I'll bring it over. So. Somebody would be very happy. I would with this. So hopefully, Jim Purvis, you like your steak. Medium rare? Medium?
Obviously, if we don't, we just cook it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
just cook it a little bit longer. But I think that is my reverse sear. I am more than happy with that.
Oh, sorry, can we... Rest time, we said was about minimum 15 minutes.
Should, yeah, go for 15 minutes. Get a bit of our slaw on there. Just going to move that up a tiny bit. And lastly, some of our creamy, smoky. Oh, I tell you what else would be good in this mash. Seeing the colour. Some roasted garlic, then roast it and then squeeze it into the mash. That'd be delish. You see? Ah, it's hot. It's almost a quenelle, that. Almost professional. Oh, a bit of salt over my steak. There's the salt content.
There it is.
Let me just check this one before we give it a flip. It's good and gnarly on the outside, but it is going to be right done.
Getting that off.
54, getting it off. I'll use that. I'll cut through it in a minute. I'm going to leave it uncovered just to see where we're at. 51. No, we're good. I can cover that. Let me just shut that off and then show you what we've got. Oh, I didn't do the salt, did I?
We're at 12:27.
Yeah. Where's the salt?
Oh, it's over there now.
Moved it. Sorry guys, this is the longest cook ever. We're going to get cut off in about 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
So is the convector in when you're searing?
No, no convector, direct. So we have loaded potato skins with bacon, jalapeno, cheese. What else did I put in them? That's about
Spring onions.
We've got our tomahawk steak cooked to medium rare, bit of salt, and we're leaving it like that. We have a smoked, really buttery, beautiful mash, and we've got our house slaw, as we call it, our red slaw. Yeah, just beautiful. But I'm going to say that's a pretty good cook.
That is epic.
We'll get some photos of all of that. We'll get all the recipes up.
Got to go and eat now. Bye.
Got to go. We're going to get cut off. So next week, who knows what it'll be? We haven't got time to ask you. So we will see you.
Happy Father's Day to
happy
everyone.
Father's Day, and we'll see you next week. Cheers, guys.